During the early 19th century, Latin America underwent an age of revolution. After the initial conquest of the indigenous people of the Americas by European powers, Latin America became a region for Spanish, Portuguese, and French exploitation of native resources and labor.
Your kind is dying off from diseases and our predestined superiority. And as you can see, I'm white, and us whites are superior to you hostiles. Do what I say, or I'll kill the remaining people of your kind.
You can't sail to the shore in your fancy metal thingamajiggies and take our silver. Who the heck do you think you are?
The Europeans established that they were clearly above other people of the New World races. Latin America had a hierarchy, complete with names to call each type of person. Insulares were the most powerful, who were men born in Spain or Portugal that held prestigious positions. Creoles were Spaniards born in Latin American colonies. Mestizos were mixed Native Americans and Spaniards. Mulatto were used to describe European and Black Caribbean descent. People of pure African or native descent were at the very bottom of the social structure under European governments. The people who weren't purely Europeans were very discriminated against. One example being the Creoles were being discriminated against the Spanish Insulares. They weren't allowed to be part of colonial courts and lacked representation and other rights as other mixed groups.
It sure does suck to have so many responsibilities as a political officer. The struggle of being a peninsular is real.
You're talking. Us Creoles don't have any representation in our own government. You Peninsulares are always making crazy plans for our colonies, and we have no way to make our counter-arguments count.
What even is representation and power? Certainly, we mulattoes have never experienced it before. Are these words like new or something?
I need you to all shut up right now. Do you know what it's like to not be a citizen in your own homeland and do all your dirty labor?
Increasing general unrest was present in the colonies as the late 18th century arrived. By 1776, the United States had attained independence from Britain, an event leading up to the peak of the Enlightenment movement, and the French also underwent their revolution, all of which left the newly conquered colonies in a state of questioning and gave them a sliver of hope among the people. In 1808, Napoleon's conquests of Europe shook up Spain in particular, which left minimal control in the South American colonies. This is when Simón Bolívar thought that it'd be a good time to fight for South America's independence if they were ever going to do so. In 1804, the Haitian colonies achieved independence from the French. As the first slaves to fight back European powers and win, Haiti became the first inspiration to many Latin American countries and was the first domino to fall in a chain of events that would eventually rid Latin America of European powers completely. It feels so good to be free from those European gringos. You all wish you were as lucky as us in Haiti.
Oh my gosh. You see what great things independence has brought for Haiti? Us Colombians envy them so much.
I don't know, man. I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I mean, us Creoles in Peru don't want to be overrun by slaves like in Haiti.
I mean, it would be nice to be free from the oppression in Venezuela, but I don't feel too bad anyways. I mean, like, our battles killed half the white people. After the Napoleonic Wars, King Ferdinand was re-established on the Spanish throne. He quickly tried to become an absolute monarch, which alienated government juntas and Creoles.
How could he do this to us?
We pledged loyalty to him and governed under his name, and he repays us by taking away our representation?
We should revolt.
Creole elites wanted more economic freedom from Spain since they did not have free trade agreements.
We need more trade rights. Spain isn't providing enough trade with North America, and I want more benefits for my plantation.
Creoles did not identify themselves as Spaniards anymore and did not feel cultural ties to Spain.
I am not a Spaniard. I am a Creole, and I need independence from Spain.
Simón Bolívar gave an impressive and inspiring speech at the National Congress of New Granada, asking for help in liberating his countries in South America.
We are sent to destroy the Spaniards, to protect the Americans, and to reestablish the republican governments that once formed the confederations of Venezuela. They have broken the most solemn agreements and treaties. In fact, they have committed every manner of crime, reducing the Republic of Venezuela to the most frightful desolation. Justice therefore demands vengeance, and necessity compels us to exact it. Let the monsters who infest Colombian soils, who have drenched it in blood, be gone forever.
He was exiled from Venezuela by the Spanish governor and goes to London on a mission to get help from Great Britain. Since Great Britain and U.S. didn't promise aid, he goes to Haiti.
Leave this country and don't come back!
Fine! I'll just go to Great Britain for help.
In spring of 1819, Bolivar planned to attack the Viceroyalty of New Granada, which is known as the Great Daring Act on military history, and he was made dictator of Peru and the president of Gran Colombia. He defeated Spanish forces in the Battle of Carabobo, where it turned his homeland Venezuela free.
Finally, after so many years, my homeland is finally free.
From August 12th to December 29th, 1825, Simón Bolívar led Bolivia to independence and democracy. Simón Bolívar and Antonio José de Sucre defeated the Royalists in northern South America, and Sucre led a campaign that defeated the Royalists in Upper Peru, which was known as Bolivia at the time.
During Simón Bolivar's brief rule over Bolivia for a year, he made many changes. The liberator decreed all citizens equal and reduced the tax burden for the poor by more than half. He also decreased the role of the Catholic Church in government and for the land reform to give more of the land to native Bolivians rather than those of European descent. But because Bolivar could only rule in Bolivia for such a short time, his decrees were not put into motion.
The culture of Bolivia can be separated into three different groups. Pre-Columbian, which has made important archaeological ruins, gold and silver ornaments, stone monuments, ceramics, and weavings remain from previous cultures. Major ruins include Tiwanaku, Samaipata, Icaleata, and Saquantiguaya. The country abounds in other sites that are difficult to reach and hardly explored by archaeologists. During the colonial period, the Spanish brought their own tradition of religious arts, which developed into a rich and distinctive style of architecture, literature, and sculpture known as Mestizo Baroque. After independence, two distinct groups emerged. The indigenous people, commonly referred to as Collas and Cambas, Creole-descended field workers of the fertile valleys of Bolivia. The Bolivian cuisine is mostly made of Spanish dishes with Bolivian ingredients. Dances are different for both groups, with Collas mixing traditional indigenous dances with European-style dances such as caporales, and Cambas developing their own distinct dances such as the taquirari. Clothing types are also very different, with Collas wearing skirts called poleas and shawls,
and Cambias wearing loose dresses called tepoys. Cambia men wear white linen shirts and white pants, with a black belt and a straw hat.
The indigenous are animistic and worship landmarks, animals, and birds, and revolve around Pachamama, the mother goddess, and Nikiko, the god of luck. Most Bolivians follow Roman Catholicism, which was brought from the Europeans with colonialism in the 1500s. Indigenous peoples of Bolivia experienced European rule, and with it, the Catholics, who were largely intolerant of their religions. Although 76% of the population was Catholic during independence movements, religious control was withdrawn from the government. The Spanish colonists asserted their control over indigenous peoples via viceroys. Oidores, who were the level beneath viceroys, governed smaller regions of Bolivia. Europeans made up the elite class in Bolivia. The indigenous peoples were against European control, gathered in present-day Sucre, where they formed their first revolt in 1809. They wanted to re-establish the Incan Empire, however Europeans never thought of liberating them.
This is our land. You have no right to rule us.
After Sucre rallied together to fight the colonists, they gained independence. After getting independence, Simón Bolivar was president of Bolivia for 5 months. The aftermath was that Bolivia was forced to make tough political decisions following their independence. He decided not to merge with other Latin American countries, though it was up for debate. The political leaders decided to write and sign the Declaration of Independence to officiate their independence, finally declaring Bolivia an independent country.
We're finally free!
Today, Bolivia's natural resources play an integral part in their economy, exporting precious metal scraps, jewels, and petroleum gas from large gas reservoirs. This amounts to about $13 billion worth of export money in 2013. The destinations of most of their exports are Brazil, Argentina, the US, Peru, and Japan.